This episode is sponsored by ABMP. Let's talk today about the Massage and Bodywork magazine from ABMP. It is an award-winning magazine included in print for ABMP members and available for everyone at massageandbodyworkdigital.com. We here at Massage Business Blueprint write the aptly titled Blueprint for Success column in every issue. It is a phenomenal professional journal that includes techniques, in-depth features, video tie-ins, which are super cool. And I've got one coming up in a issue or two. And it covers everything that matters to us professional body workers. You can learn more at massageandbodyworkdigital.com. Thanks, ABMP.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Massage Business Blueprint podcast, where we help you attract more clients, make more money, and improve your quality of life. I'm Michael Reynolds.
I'm Allissa Haynes.
We're your hosts, as always. Welcome to our show today.
As always, and a few minutes late.
Few minutes late, but we're still here.
You know why? I'm going to tell you why. Because we care about quality. Because I was having all kinds of audio issues, and our good friends at 𝗪𝗂𝗶𝘀𝗪𝗀 gave me this amazing new mic to use because my headset is failing, but our stupid software is being weird about acknowledging the mic. So I'm back to my headset. I apologize if you hear clicking. Let me just say for the record, though, that Michael was ready to go on air with like the worst audio ever using my computer mic. And I'm the one who was like, no, we are absolutely not recording an episode, especially this particular episode, because it's going to be a really good one. Like, I think it's going to be a really important one. And I don't want to have that sullied by bad audio. So we'll have mediocre audio. I apologize if you hear some clicking from my headset. Doing the best we can over here.
Well, thank you for your commitment to quality, keeping our standards high. And by the way, if you don't join us live, you wouldn't even know we were late because it just goes out on podcasts. So
I know, but there are 3 people listening live, and I wanted to be respectful of their time, and I apologize. What you been reading, Michael? Anything?
Yeah. So this is a little bit weird. I have recently taken the dark triad personality test. So this is fascinating to me. So I found this on an episode of the Financial Therapy podcast. I listened to a podcast on financial therapy, and I came to know this dark triad personality test from one of the episodes, which was titled "Surprising Personality Traits of Cryptocurrency Investors." The episode itself is kind of interesting as an aside, and it talked about some of the personality traits of people that are like super into crypto and like really kind of down the rabbit hole of cryptocurrency. And it talked about some of the personality traits that are present in some of these investors are, let me find the actual thing so I get it just right. Machiavellianism, narcissism, and psychopathy. Is it psychopathy or psychopathy? I think it's psychopathy. So I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. But anyway, so those are personality traits that were kind of uncovered with some people that were like really deep into this stuff. Now, again, it's just sort of interesting stuff I'm not making judgments on people that are into crypto, but there is a personality test that was shared in the podcast episode that is free for anyone to take. And it is from openpsychometrics.org, and it's called the Dark Triad Personality Test that covers these 3 areas. Again, Machiavellianism, narcissism, and psychopathy. So Machiavellianism is basically manipulating people, being a manipulative personality. Narcissism, you're thinking you're the best ever, center of attention, like special. Psychopathy is low empathy, high impulse. So side note, I found this fascinating because I'm always like, fun fact about me, I'm always like worried that I'm like a psychopath, and I'm trying to like make sure I don't have these personality traits because I watch these crime drama shows and I'm like, oh my gosh, am I like horrible? So I'm always like interested in personality tests and traits, and making sure that I'm always working to work against any negative personality traits I have to better myself. And so anyway, luckily I'm not. I took the test, and I'm basically in the national average area for Machiavellianism and narcissism, and very low on the psychopathy score. So good news, I'm not a psychopath. And I guess I'm average when it comes to narcissism and Machiavellianism. So I thought it was interesting. I'm not sure like what to do with the information, but I just find personality tests fascinating, and they give you a little more information about how to interpret your scores and so forth. So that's kind of the rabbit hole I've been going down.
I could not think of anyone I know who is less Machiavellian or narcissistic or psychopathic, psychopath oriented. I don't know how we say all those words either. So I think you're good. I think you're good. Also, I just want to know that Leslie said, wow, I was a couple of minutes late joining and Michael is into some deep thought work. Yes, he is. And we were late starting, so it's cool. And 𝗪𝗂𝗧, good morning. Thank you.
So yeah.
Okay. So I have been reading things not as intense as that. Let me tell you. I just finished a book called Lost Summers of Newport by 3 authors who I've read, I think, each of their stuff individually, Beatrice Williams, Lauren Willig, and Karen White. And it's a work of fiction, and it's kind of tells the story of this family in Newport, but it tells it over like 3 generations and goes back and forth a little bit. And it's a hint of a mystery, but it's pretty interesting. Like it's, it was good. It was good fiction. It wasn't like the best fiction I've ever read, but it was good, solid summer reading. So there it is, The Lost Summers of Newport.
Nice. Thanks for lightening up the conversation a little bit there.
Yeah. Well, I should say that, we probably both do encompass a certain amount of all of those things because we both are a little bit into cryptocurrency. I'm in it only that I invested just a little bit of cash into it to see what happens. And it was my play money and I used that. I don't fully understand it, nor do I go down any rabbit holes, nor will I watch anything more than a 12-second video about it. I got a friend who studies it and takes classes and stuff, and I'm a little nervous about sending her the survey. But we do what we do. It's fine.
Yeah,
it's fine.
We're talking people that are super anti-government, super isolated, just real deep into this stuff is kind of the people that we're talking about. So. All right. So on that note, let's move on to our next sponsor before we move on to the thing we're going to talk about today. And our next sponsor is 𝗏𝗏𝗏.
Yay! This episode is indeed sponsored by the original 𝗏𝗏𝗏 company, who does not just supply the world's only 100% pure first press quality jojoba, but also mics that I'm not smart enough to use. So what's neat about jojoba is that it doesn't go rancid. It doesn't contain triglycerides like lots of massage products do, so it will not go bad, which is nice because it won't make your sheets rancid. It also washes clean out of 100% cotton sheets, so that's pretty nice. And it's non-allergenic. This is my favorite part of jojoba, is that I can use it on any client and every client, and I don't need to worry about an allergic reaction. So if I've said this example many times, but it's because it's the one that scared me the most. Prenatal client with all kinds of nut allergies and some non-nut allergies, and to know that jojoba was just perfectly safe for her was really comforting as I worked on her. You can get 20% off the price of the product when you shop through our link, massagebusinessblueprint.com/jojoba.
All right, Allissa. Oops, I neglected my bookkeeping.
Yeah, man. I got to go back to my podcast notes. Sorry, I got to open that page.
What do I do? Help.
What do I do? And okay, first of all, this episode, as often happens, is inspired by a conversation in our premium community, but it's also inspired by anyone who has ever had a business ever and not started out as a business person. This happens so much, but we have a friend, and literally, this is totally paraphrased from every time I've gotten this email or this question, which is, roughly 70,000 times over the past 10 years. Help. I have a meeting with my accountant next week to deal with taxes, and I've procrastinated because I don't know where to start. Well, welcome. Welcome to where most of us have been at some point or another in some way or another.
Welcome to the safe tree.
Welcome. I promise that this is a very common thing to happen. And it happens because, we don't know what to do and we procrastinate and we feel guilty and we feel stupid and then we feel more guilty and then we feel embarrassed and then we feel terrified and then there's a learning curve. Oh, dear God. I was like this too. There was a point at which I took some bad advice, didn't do my bookkeeping, didn't pay my quarterly taxes, and owed a crap ton of money that took me 2 years on a tax plan with the IRS to recoup. And I got to tell you, I was still alive after it. And once it was handled, I did not feel terrible about it anymore. So this is a really rough growing pain. I also want to note that if there's anyone who makes you feel bad about it, they're a jerk and you should ignore them, because this happens. It happens to many, many, many of us. And yeah, so there's your solace. Also, let's get you started on fixing this. And it might be that you have to spend, 48 hours doing this and nothing but this, or fitting it in after the kids go to bed for 3 nights in a row and being exhausted, or delaying that appointment, but really getting on top of this, or getting some help, getting some outside help. But if you are a Schedule C filer, which means if you file your regular 1040 kind of tax return and your business expenses all just go on a Schedule C that you send in along with that tax return, you got this. Like, we can do this. If you have a more complicated business situation where you're filing as like an S corp, you're dealing with payroll in the way of like payroll taxes being deducted and things like that, you really need to get more help than anyone like here on a podcast can give you. Also, I want to be really clear about noting that this is not tax advice. This is not accounting advice. We have both owned businesses that file as a Schedule C. We have both gotten caught up in this paperwork hot mess. Sometimes it's a lack of paperwork hot mess. And these are some steps to take to recoup, in conjunction with consulting a professional accountant and or tax preparer who can help you through like the proper legal stuff and, tax form stuff. Not tax advice, some guidance on getting organized so you can ask your tax preparer the best questions. So does that disclaimer work okay, Michael?
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
That's not legal advice.
Yeah. So, so if you have used a bank account specifically and exclusively for business transactions, this is super easy. If you have deposited every penny that you've earned, including cash that you've received for massage or other services, if you've deposited all of that, check, cash, credit card processing, gone right into that same business account, way easier, because then your bank account is just a record of every transaction. So you know what's there. If you have not done that, this will get a little trickier. There's still plenty of solutions here. We're going to get to them. So we're going to move forward initially here as if you have deposited every penny you've earned from massage into this one checking account that you use only for business, and you have withdrawn from this one business bank account exclusively for your business all of the bills and stuff you've had to buy for your business, every transaction, every expenditure is the word I'm looking for. Okay. So you've got this all, but you don't know what to do with any of this information. So my first suggestion, if you can handle a hint of a learning curve with software, is to use waveapps.com. It's kind of like if QuickBooks, which I feel is way more robust and complicated than we need. It's like if QuickBooks and an electronic check register had a baby. Like, this is waveapps.com. It is free. It is software that is web-based that you create an account and log into for free. And then you can connect it to your bank and you can import all of the transactions from January 1st to whatever the current date is for this year's reporting. Depending on your bank, if you get like some little small town old school bank that doesn't use one of these software compatible thingamabobs, you might need to manually export your history from your bank, which you would probably do it with like a spreadsheet, a CSV file, and then import it into WaveApp. But it'll probably connect. Even my little podunk bank connects. So once you get all of those transactions in, and that's all your expenditures and all your deposits, then you got to categorize them. You have to assign them to a category. Categories are things like rent, utilities, massage supplies, insurance and professional memberships, continuing education, all those kinds of things. And we actually have a list of common Schedule C categories in our mastermind resources for our mastermind members. It's one of the many things we provide. Also, you could just, like Google for Schedule C categories, massage business, and you'll come up with plenty of options. But, our mastermind community is a pretty good place to start too. That's it. like once you get every single transaction categorized, you're going to be able to run a report, little click of a button that tells you exactly how much you've taken in, what's your income, what's your gross amount of money, the total amount of money you've taken in providing massage or whatever related services you provide. And then it'll tell you how much you spent on rent and your phone bill and oils and whatever categories you've set up. So, I mean, I'm like, oh, that's all you have to do is click a button. No, you have to learn the software a little bit. Like I've found WaveApps to be the simplest and most effective. Are there quirks? Sure. You're going to have to spend like an hour, like just kind of figuring it out. Sure. But if you want to go with a software, that's a really good one to start also because it's free. Way less complicated than QuickBooks. Okay, so if you cannot manage software and that's making you want to puke and you're like, I cannot handle the learning curve, you know, there are other options. So the next step I would suggest, if you can't handle a software, but you can manage a spreadsheet, same concept. You can export that CSV file from your bank, paste it into your own spreadsheet, or just work with the spreadsheet that downloads, that CSV file that downloads from your bank, and start organizing it. You can move some columns around. You can delete columns you don't need. You don't need like a transaction number for everything. You don't need to know the exact time of day. So delete columns that you don't need and add a column to categorize stuff. Which means to add a column where you type in a category and have a list of categories handy. So for every transaction that's a check to my landlord, I put rent as the category, because then you can sort. You can sort that particular column and it will move all of the other lines with it so that you can group every category together. You can add a line in there and use the little sum feature, which is a little totaling feature, to come up with a total for every category. And your accountant / tax preparer will likely be able to, you can hand them that spreadsheet and they can sort and do what they need to with it as well. So if you can manage a spreadsheet, if you have basic spreadsheet skills, that's what you can do. So if you've used more than one bank account, or you've also used some cash, we're going to get to that in a second. So that's my spreadsheet thing. If you cannot handle software and you cannot handle a spreadsheet, you can probably handle a pencil and paper. You can handle a notebook or a legal pad or just a whole bunch of blank printer paper. Same concept. Instead of downloading all of the transactions from your bank, you're going to literally have your bank statements and your credit card statements or whatever accounts you've used for your business sitting right there in front of you. And you start at January 1st. And if the first transaction is a rent check to your landlord, you got a whole bunch of notebook pages, and one of them, at the top of them, you write rent. And on the top of the other one, you write utilities. On the top of another one, you write massage supplies. And on the top of the other, you hear what I'm saying here. Make every page a category, and then you just manually go through your statements. And January 1st, rent check to landlord. So then you go to your rent page and you write, 1/1/2022 or whatever the year is you're recording this, and write landlord, you write their name and you write check number and you write the amount. So you are just manually making a list of every transaction, and you're doing it by category. Old school, lots of people still do it this way. Some people still use those old ledger books. You could totally do that. Yeah, it takes some time because you're going to have to go through every transaction for an entire year and write them down onto the correct page, which is why I prefer using spreadsheets that can be manipulated and that automatically can add columns, because my math ain't that good and my calculator skills are not that great. But that's what you do every single transaction. Now, if you've used multiple accounts, or like you've had a lot of crossover with a personal account and a business account, then you have to go through that bank statement and just cross out the personal expenses and highlight the business ones, and then get them either into the spreadsheet that you're using or onto the paper that you're using in the correct category. If you have used cash and you have a record of that via the receipts or some other record you've kept, my guess is if your records aren't that great with bookkeeping, you probably have not kept a record of all the cash. So your receipts are going to be your only evidence of those transactions. So you have a stack of your cash receipts and you go through them and you're like, oh, this is when I went to Walmart and bought laundry detergent. So if you had a whole bunch of personal transactions, you can't include them in what you're putting on the business category sheet, but you'd go to linens or whatever, laundry supplies. You could also call that massage supplies. Don't get too hung up on categories, just get hung up on making sure you record transactions. And you write, Walmart, the date, laundry supplies, and the amount you spent on laundry supplies. If you're going through receipts, and they're mixed personal and business, I encourage you to highlight the business expense as you save that receipt. It's going to be a lot easier to find that record later if you highlight it. Yeah, so that's kind of it for like expenditures. You just got to find every record of every expenditure you could have made and get it into the correct record. If you're using Wave app, you can actually create, you'll have your checking account, your credit card account. You can create a cash account and record all those cash transactions manually. And then that'll run right into it'll funnel right into the reports. So you'll have all that information there. If you did not record cash deposits, like cash payments that you receive for massage, or check payments, if you put them right in your personal account, or you put the cash directly in your pocket and then spent it, gets a little trickier. You have to gather, if you did put those checks into other accounts, you got to gather those records and find the record of them. You got to parse out your business stuff manually. If you took cash for massage and put it right in your pocket, did you record that information anywhere, like in your calendar? Did you have a notepad you were writing cash, whatever? But if they didn't appear, if that cash didn't appear as a deposit transaction in your account, your checking account that you're pulling all of this information from, you got to recreate that information manually. And I will suggest that you talk to your tax preparer or accountant about the best recreation method so that you catch as much as you can, so that if you get audited, the government's not like, well, where's the $100 from that massage, my friend? And then you owe income taxes and penalties on that. So there's that. That's all the contingencies I could come up with. Using one single bank account for your business is not necessarily required, but makes this a lot easier. I will say, if you've mixed personal and business, you could still connect that account in Wave and just have a category for personal, and that you can report that out. When you run the reports, you can exclude the personal category, so your personal stuff doesn't get too mixed in with your business stuff. Your tax preparer or accountant can help you with that. And yeah, so finally, just one little note about receipts. You should have a receipt for every transaction, every expenditure you intend to claim as a business expense. You can usually go back through your email for online purchases and find them. Ideally, you've got a stack of paper receipts, or you've already scanned them and thrown them up into Google Drive or something, or put them into an image, whatever, a folder on your desktop. If you don't have receipts for transactions, talk to your tax preparer or accountant on what you should do about that. They might tell you just write something down on a piece of paper and file that. They might say you can't claim it. Do what they tell you to do. This is not tax advice again. But I just want to wrap this up by saying, if this is happening to you, be assured it's happened to many of us, even people who have otherwise run a very good and sustainable business. So do your best, fix it. Do your best to fix it, get some help, and, make some notes, learn your lesson, schedule some time next year to do this at the end of every month. That's it.
All right, we have a number of comments that have come in. So we'll start with Leslie, referring to just the whole situation. Leslie says, this is the first year this would not be applicable to me. Congratulations, Leslie.
Good for you.
Leslie followed up by saying, what category is massage, business blueprint, premium, things that are professional development and networking and online subscription and entertainment? Thank you, Leslie. Thank you.
So I would suggest you not put it under entertainment, because that's a different kind of deductibility nowadays. So they only allow you a certain percentage of that. What I would say is, I like that you asked this question, because it doesn't matter. it really doesn't matter. Like, it can go under any of those: professional development. It could probably even go under continuing education. It could go under networking. It doesn't matter. And that's one of the things that, like, we tend to get really hung up on, like, this exact categorization. It doesn't matter, because all of those expenses, like, again, entertainment's different. All of those expenses are deductible in the same way. Like, all of those categories count in the same way. It doesn't matter if my laundry detergent goes into massage supplies or linens. It doesn't matter as long as it's in there. So don't let those hang you up. And I would suggest that you just make sure that, like, every transaction from, let's say, your membership to Massage Business Blueprint, just make sure it all goes into the same category. Make sure there's some consistency, so that if your accountant's like, oh, I want you to put it in there, it's very easy to just swap all of those transactions into another one. As long as you're consistent, don't stress about it.
And Joyce, also on Facebook, followed up with Leslie's comment saying, replying to Leslie, good point, Leslie. I categorize it as professional development, but it's really so much more. Well,
No, you guys are just giving us a commercial, and I appreciate it.
And Leslie, also, you mentioned this already, but Leslie also reminded us, take a picture, scan the receipts, because thermal paper fades and disappears. Oh, good point.
Yes, this is a really good other idea. Like, even if you're someone, or even if your accountant has told you to keep hold of the paper, scan it anyway, just to have it, because all the receipt stuff fades after, like, even I noticed some from earlier in 2022 have actually already faded. There's plenty of easy scanning apps you can put on your phone. Just put on your phone. If all you do is, like, scan it and email it to yourself, that's okay for now. I prefer you do a little more with it. We could probably do another episode on that. But yeah, scan it, because those things fade.
Wave will keep receipts as well online.
Yeah, like, you could just literally, you could just save them in a file on your desktop. You could save them in a Google Drive folder, which I like, because then it's up in the cloud. So if my computer gets killed, it's not a problem. Or if you're using a software, you can save it right in most software programs, which is what I do now. And I really like it.
Mind if I had one quick thing? I want to go back to the cash stuff. Just a reminder, like, if you are in the habit of not depositing your cash and just pocketing it or using it for something else, just get in the habit of depositing all your cash. Just deposit it. Just make it a clean rule that when you get cash from your business, you deposit it. I've seen a lot of situations where that's not happening, and it becomes problematic later, as Allissa alluded to. So
yeah, it's like, that's kind of the one, like, if nothing else, if you F up everything else in your money stuff in your bookkeeping, if you can just make sure that your business expenditures come from your business account, and every penny you earn in your business gets deposited into that same account, that will save your butt in so many ways, because that's your back. You can be comfortable and confident that that is your backup record of every single thing that happened in your business. So, like, if nothing else, there you go.
Right on. All right, we're a little running long today, so we'll move on here. But one more comment from Marcy, who says, late to the party, but brought breakfast tacos. Thanks, Marcy. I'll expect mine arriving soon.
I'm actually making breakfast burritos after this. So sorry, go ahead.
All right. Well, hey, who's our next sponsor? Oh yeah, it's us.
Who's us? I made note that we're doing our sponsorship, but did not open the page. So this was me killing time.
You want to talk about it? I've got a thing.
Go for it.
Okay, because I have a little quick tip that goes with our sponsorship. So the next sponsor is us, Massage Business Blueprint, and it's because we have a free resource for you, and we want to tell you about it. It is called How to Get New Massage Clients. It is a 14-page guide that is free for you to download, and it walks you through a number of general ideas to get you started with getting new clients if you are stuck. This is where we point all people to pretty much when they ask the general question, hey, help, how do I get new clients? It's like, this guide is titled to answer specifically that question. It goes through offline stuff, social networking stuff, digital marketing stuff, email, a smorgasbord, so to speak. I just want to use the word smorgasbord of different ideas in a step-by-step fashion that tells you, hey, try this, then next try this, and all the different things you can do to kind of kickstart your marketing and get new clients in your massage practice. And what I wanted to share is that I think it's a really good exercise to maybe download the PDF, print it out, and then I know I can't believe I'm saying print it out, and then go through it page by page. Like, basically take page one and say, okay, here's the first idea. I'm going to go through it. I'm going to work on it. I'm going to do some things. I'm going to implement that. Then move on to page two. and work on those things and just step by step work through it, because I guarantee you're not doing all these things. No one is. And if you skip a page or two or skip a tactic or two, that's fine, but work through it all the way through. It's only 14 pages. You can do it really quickly. And I guarantee it will focus you and it will help you do some new things and jumpstart some activities in your massage practice that will help you get new clients. So that's what I would advise. Print it out, work through it, make notes on it, and it'll help you get focused.
Woo! Crazy.
Oh, where can you find it? I didn't even tell people where to find it.
Yeah.
MassageBusinessBlueprint.com/clients. So again, go to our website, MassageBusinessBlueprint.com/clients. It's a free download.
Yeah, and it doesn't stink, if I do say so myself.
It doesn't stink at all.
All right. What else we got? I lost my place.
Yep. I'm going to roll with apps. I know the last 2 episodes I've been sharing these random apps. I've got another one I found. It's called Veed.io, Veed.io. And I found it because I've been exploring, Allissa, you'll be proud of me. I've been exploring TikTok. I'm kind of getting in a mindset where I might start doing some things on TikTok, but I want to do it really well and kind of do it in a way that's just, I don't know, I feel comfortable doing it. Also, I've been doing more experimentation with Instagram videos with like text flying in and stuff. So I was exploring some apps that will do video editing for things like this, and I found Veed. There's a free version. The paid version is probably what a lot of people are going to need if they get serious about it. It's like $25 a month, but there's a free version to do some limited stuff, and it does a lot of things. It does video editing for pretty much every social network. It also has live streaming. And it just lets you do a lot of general video and graphic editing. So it's kind of a nice all-in-one Swiss Army knife tool if you're really serious about having a dynamic presence on different social properties. So Veed.io is my latest find if you want to check it out.
Fancy. My quick tip is to make a note in your calendar right now of time to catch up on your monthly or quarterly bookkeeping.
That's important. Yeah. All right. Well, this episode was action-packed. I just have to say it. So well done. All right. Well, thank you everyone who stopped by on Facebook and social media to join us as well. Just a reminder, if you are listening via the podcast, via audio, and have no idea what we're talking about, just be aware that we do broadcast this live every Wednesday, 9 a.m. Eastern. And that's why we sometimes bring up these comments from listeners and viewers who put comments in as they watch. So you're welcome to do that and join us as well. All right. With that, you know where to find us. It's MassageBusinessBlueprint.com. We talked a little bit about our Blueprint Mastermind community with resources. If you want to join, it's free for 30 days to check it out. You can just join, sign up, see if you like it. Stick around if you do. We think you will. And again, our website is MassageBusinessBlueprint.com. You can email us at podcast@MassageBusinessBlueprint.com. And we'd love to hear from you. Have a great day. We'll see you next time.
Bye.